Drive-through testing for COVID-19 still requires some protective equipment as doctors lean in to administer a test, but it's a lot less than if someone had to be brought into a hospital where they could infect others or possibly catch something themselves. You can test your tire tread at home. You just need to take a penny, flip it upside down, and put it in your tire. If you can see Lincoln's whole head, that means you need new tires. Looks like I have a little bit of life left. Next year, the school district says Iowa City High students will use the building, but beyond that is still undetermined, and it may just be a parking lot. What happened was a water line broke on the 5th floor around 3 p.m. And that water spread all the way down to the 1st floor. Developers can either make a certain percentage of their units affordable or pay a fee to get around it. A lot of people pointed out at Tuesday's council meeting that the city has let a lot of developers just pay the fee recently. There are people, though, who feel the department still has a ways to go after it failed to punish an officer involved in an illegal search and seizure in 2019.
Hey, you just jaywalked all over the street right here. Do you mind using the sidewalk for me?
Yes, sir.
Police don't generally pay a lot of attention to jaywalking.
Is that cool? I don't want to write you a ticket.
When they do, it's usually not the only charge involved. ICPD officers stopped and searched a black man they believed to be a felon in possession last December. Seen here on vest camera footage obtained through an open records request. Officer Travis Neild made the initial stop.
Well, he's jaywalking right now, so I mean there's always that. But I don't recognize him either.
Neild received a tip the man had something heavy in his pocket. He initiated the stop for jaywalking and once backup moved in, arrested the man.
Stop!
That man was Chris Kelly, who was previously convicted of a felony. He was carrying a weapon that day, which convicted felons cannot do. But that was all discovered after the stop. Eric Tyndall is an Iowa City lawyer who's reviewed this case.
They didn't identify who this individual was exactly, nor were they able to really identify what he may have been carrying.
A federal judge ruled in August that officers lacked evidence to suspect Kelly of a serious crime and did not have enough to warrant a jaywalking stop, violating his Fourth Amendment rights.
It wasn't a just reason to do it.
People were upset by the incident, and more upset when they realized Officer Neild was community relations officer for 2 months while the case was being reviewed.
Which honestly infuriated a lot of people. I mean, I've heard people in the South District saying that that's like a slap in the face.
Amel Ali has lived in Iowa City for 20 years. She's on the new Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The department updated its policies in October to make jaywalking and things like tinted windows secondary violations. Minor infractions can no longer be the sole reason for pulling someone over. Ali is happy the policy is changing, but doubts it will convince the people who really mistrust police.
The African American community, or the population that is uneasy with police officers, isn't watching city council meetings and seeing these new policies be put in place.
The city admits what happened to Chris Kelly does not help them get closer to the community.
Anytime that's done, there is a societal cost that hinders our ability to build relationships. And I think that's what the learning moment is here.
City officials say this policy change is just a first step. Ali says it has to be if the city truly wants zero tolerance for biased policing.
And I know this is hard right now because there's, we have just like an interim police chief, but someone coming out and saying, hey, we messed up. I think that would have gone a lot further.
Her name was Margaret Lee.
I called her Aunt Lil.
A year ago today, very few Iowans thought they would lose a loved one to COVID-19.
When we first heard about it, we thought it would stay contained and it'd just be something that we'd hear about.
It hit for Heidi Barkoff in November when she lost her Aunt Lillian.
One night she had a bad night, and the next day they said that they needed people to say goodbye.
She's one of the thousands of people for whom the pandemic will leave a lasting mark.
I feel like it's becoming more and more frequent that I meet someone that has had a relationship with someone that has been affected by COVID and even died from COVID.
Quinter Harvey lost his close family friend, Margaret.
Definitely made me more aware of how closely it affects people.
If you haven't lost a loved one, take a moment and be thankful. We can all make good choices to stop the spread and stop adding names to this list.
Hopefully, a lot of people are willing to accept getting the vaccine, that we will see an end to this.
After giving up hours of their week to caucus, many turned on their TVs to a train coming off the rails.
I had no idea until I left the precinct.
Last night, we were faced with multiple reporting challenges and decided, out of an abundance of caution, to protect the integrity of the Iowa caucuses.
The party decided the way to assure integrity was to recheck preference cards by hand. That, of course, led to a roughly 18-hour delay for any results to be officially released. Even Democrats who always look forward to the caucus say it might be time to rethink.
This is an argument that's hard to beat, that if we can't have the organization available with 1,700 precincts and 200,000 voters, then why are we more important than these states that have millions of voters?
This is a conversation that happens every 4 years. There's no doubt that that conversation will take place again.
While changes need to be made, for the chance it gives candidates to talk with voters and the burst it gives to the campaign cycle, many hope the caucus sticks around.
The Super Tuesday climate is such a drastically different environment that I think that the Iowa caucus provides, that it makes it such a benefit to our presidential election.